So how did Michelle Obama respond to the events that were taking place? She got very, very cocky because they feel that Joe Biden won. A candidate that the Obamas never endorsed during the primary and barely endorsed after that to the last few days of the election. As they point out in the Daily Wire, former First Lady Michelle Obama demonized tens of millions of Americans on Saturday after news organizations declared Democrat presidential nominee Joe Biden the winner of the 2020 election. Despite the fact that ballots are still being counted and the Trump campaign has filed lawsuits in several states, claiming without evidence that those who voted for President Trump, this according to Obama, voted to support, quote, lies, hate, chaos, and division. That's you. You who are systemically racist. You have a target on you now. I'm beyond thrilled, she wrote, that my friend Joe Biden, our first black and Indian American woman vice president. This identity politics stuff is unbelievable. Isn't she also Jamaican? Why didn't she say black, Indian American, and Jamaican American woman vice president, Kamala Harris, are headed to restore some dignity, competence, and heart at the White House? Our country sorely needs it, she wrote. Thank you to all of you who poured every ounce of your hope and determination into this democracy over the past 4 years, registering voters, getting them to the polls, keeping folks informed. More votes were cast in this election than ever before. It's because of you. She said, and after we celebrate, and we should all take a moment to exhale after everything we've been through. Oh, yeah, they've been through so much. Let's remember that this is just the beginning. Yes, the revolution goes on. It's a first step. Voting in one election isn't a magic wand, and neither is winning one. Let's remember that tens of millions of people voted for the status quo, even when it meant supporting lies, hate, chaos, and division. We've got a lot of work to do to reach out to those folks in the years ahead and connect with them on what unites us. What kind of stupid incoherence is this? One sentence you're trashing 71 million people, and the next sentence we got to reach out and connect with what unites us? Incoherent, but dripping with hate. But we also got to recognize that the path to progress will always be uphill. Oh, yeah. America really sucks. It's an uphill fight. Progress, a.k.a. socialism. We'll always have to scrape and crawl up toward that mountaintop. Do you believe this, Mr. Producer? How she looks at this country? Her husband was elected president. She was first lady. They have to be worth $200 million. They're treated like a king and queen all over the country. And this kind of talk? She thinks they just got their candidate and the first black, Indian, Jamaican, American woman vice president. And this is how she talks? And 2 years from now, 4 years from now, there will once again be no margin for error. We see now the reality that we can't take even the tiniest part of our democracy for granted. Every single vote must count. Well, of course, even the illegal ones. And every single one of us must vote. And as a country, we should making it easier, not harder, to cast a ballot. I have an idea. Why don't you just cast a ballot for 75 million people? What do they make it easier? People are mailed ballots. We have men and women who really are at the bottom of mountains all over the world, clawing and fighting their way to the top with their lives on the line. Then we have people sitting on their fat asses expecting people to hand them ballots and then fill it out and stick it in your mailbox. What the hell's the problem? Make it easier to vote? She means make it easier to commit fraud. All the safeguards should be removed. Unbelievable. The comment here from the Daily Wire, Michelle Obama also tried to drum up enthusiasm for the upcoming Senate runoffs in Georgia. Now here's what's amazing. Stacey Abrams, lost by like 50,000 votes in Georgia. I don't believe Trump is behind by 50,000 votes in any state of these states, but 50,000 votes. And they say the election was stolen. Trump is contesting the votes in Georgia. He wants a canvass. He wants a recount. And they're saying he's not graceful, according to Romney. Of course, Romney's an idiot. But you get my point. Michelle Obama has made numerous unsubstantiated and misleading claims about the Trump administration over the past several years. She has deceptively claimed during the Democrat National Convention that, quote, right now kids in this country are watching in horror as children are torn from their families and thrown into cages, while failing to acknowledge that those cages were built during her husband's administration. And I might add, kids are not ripped from their parents and thrown in the cages. You see, there has to be a determination made when you have people coming here illegally if those are actually their parents, if they're pedophiles, if they're kidnappers, and if those children are safe. So they're not being thrown in cages. But the writer here at the Daily Wire, of course, is quite correct. Any cages were built during the Obama-Biden administration. No cages were built by Trump. She also tried to suggest that Trump was responsible for, quote, people shouting in grocery stores, unwilling to wear a mask to keep us all safe, to people calling the police on other people just because of the color of their skin. She really is a race baiter. I'm not kidding. The worst of the worst, in my humble opinion, and the opinion of tens of millions of other people.